Good morning and welcome to the morning show. I'm Bo Hendricks. Recently, I had the chance to attend an event that was held for this year's local winners in the Lambda Chapter Literary Contest, which displayed the talents of young writers and young artists. The event was held at the Richland Center High School and gave these students a chance to read their winning stories in front of family and friends. And we here at WRCO would like to have the chance to share those winning stories with you. We'll start things off at the third grade level with the second place winner, Elena Muller. Elena attends St. Mary's School and her teacher is Barb Pliner. Here's Elena's story, Help, I'm Stuck in a Snow Globe.
Help, I'm Stuck in a Snow Globe by Elena Muller. On a dark and stormy night, I was driving in my car. I saw a present on the road. I got out of my car and I picked it up. I shook it. Then all of a sudden, it sucked me in. I saw someone behind a bush. I looked behind the bush and saw a gingerbread man. He was scared of me. I told him my name was Elena. Then he said his name was Georgie. I said, "Hi, Georgie." Then we both made gingerbread houses to live in. We also went sliding down a steep hill. It was fun. I needed to get out. It turns out that Georgie was also trapped in the snow globe, so I asked him if he wanted to help me get out. We didn't know how to get out. Then all of a sudden, I got an idea. The idea was building a ladder out of the gingerbread houses. We connected them to make a ladder, and when we got to the top, we unscrewed the top and got out. When we were out, we needed to find out who trapped us in. Right before our eyes, a witch appeared. We didn't know what to do, so we hid behind a shelf. I found a glowing snow globe on the ground, so I picked it up. I saw that there was a button on the back. Right when I saw the button, I knew what to do. I pointed at the witch, pressed the button, and she got trapped in. Then we had a party to celebrate that the witch was trapped in the snow globe. When we left, the witch was sad. We gave her one more chance, so we pressed the button and let the witch out. We had another party together. We went sliding down a steep hill. We also rode a giant dragonfly all together. The end.
Once again, congratulations to Elena Muller. The first place winner at the third grade level was Nyla Rush, who also attends St. Mary's School and has the teacher Barb Pliner. Her story also is titled, Help, I'm Stuck in a Snow Globe.
Hi, my name is Nyla Rush, and I'm going to be reading a book called Help, I'm Stuck in a Snow Globe. One night it was dark and stormy. I went downstairs to see Santa. A snow globe fell on me. I got so scared because there was no way out. In the snow globe, I saw my friends. My friends are Lily, Ellie, and Olivia. I went over to play with them. I said hi to them and they said hi back. I asked if they wanted to play a game. What kind of game? Ellie asked. I know, Monopoly and Dominoes, I replied. After that, we had a party with ice cream. We showed each other all of our dance moves, and then we partied. After the party was done, I told them I better make shelter. Why, they asked. I don't have anywhere to live yet, I told them. Oh, okay, let's start building, they said. Ellie, you grab wood. Lily, you grab bricks. Olivia, you grab stone. And I grabbed straw. Okay, everybody, let's do a house contest, I told them. You have 24 hours to build the house. 3, 2, 1, go! 3 hours later. Hey, Captain, Ellie said. Yes, I replied. I'm really tired, Ellie said. Everyone asked, can we do it in the morning, please? Okay, fine, but you have to do it straight in the morning with me. Okay, my friends. Okay, my friend said. Good night, I said. Oh, all right, guys, are you guys ready to work? I asked. Yes, she shouted. Guess what, Captain? We got it all done. Really? I asked. Yeah, they said. You guys definitely deserve a treat, I told them. Like what? Look at the beach. Could we go over there? Of course. The last one there is a rotten chicken. So when we got there, we played in the water. The game we played in the water was who can stay underwater the longest. We got bored of playing the water, so we went over to the sand and built sand castles. After we were done, we ordered the largest kids' meal at Culver's. After we picked up the kids' meal at Culver's, we went back home and ate the Culver's. After we ate, I told them I've had a lot of fun together, but I have to go now. I'm going to pack up. Okay, they said. After I was all packed up, I said goodbye and went out. Then bam, bam, bam. Hey, I'm back to normal. And that is my story. The end.
Once again, that was Nyla Rush, the first place winner at the 3rd grade level. We now move to the 4th grade level. The second place winner is Morgan Worthington, who attends Richland Center Intermediate School and has the teacher Jill Plonka. Here's Morgan's story, Amy the Arctic Fairy.
Amy the Arctic Fairy is an expert on unicorns. She knows they eat ice cream cones, popsicles, and snow cones. She is aware that the unicorns are white with silver manes. Amy is positive there are only 25 unicorns left in the world, all of which live in Antarctica. One day, Amy decides to take a vacation to a tropical island, Rainbow Glitter Island. When Amy arrives, she heads to the Airbnb she rented. Then Amy decides to go to the beach to relax, because being an Arctic fairy is very hard work. After Amy lays out her towel and her umbrella, she realizes she forgot her sunscreen and rushes back to her room to grab her sunscreen from the bathroom. On the way, Amy ends up in the middle of super sparkle rainforest after taking a wrong turn. Amy becomes frightened, and then a unicorn comes up to her and says, "Hi, my name is Ella." Amy is astonished because Ella is a pink unicorn with a rainbow mane. I have met many unicorns before, but they are all white and silver. You are the first rainbow unicorn I have ever seen, Amy exclaimed. Ella explains that she is the very last rainbow unicorn left in the entire world. Ella then invites Amy to her magical lagoon for chocolate cupcakes with rainbow frosting and sprinkles, and pink lemonade with swirly straws. Amy comments, the unicorns in Antarctica only eat cold treats. Have you ever tried ice cream with your cupcakes? Ella replies, no, but I would love to try some. Amy says, I have vanilla ice cream that would taste amazing with your cupcakes. Amy and Ella enjoy the cupcakes and play in the rainbow water of the lagoon the rest of the day. The next day, Amy needs to go home. Ella promises that she will visit Antarctica very soon. Amy asks Ella, would you like to come home with me? The unicorns in Antarctica are very nice, and I am sure they would love to meet you. Amy replies, yes, I would love to. I'm very lonely here, and I would love to have more friends to spend time with. Amy and Ella head back to Antarctica. Ella is extremely happy that she returned to Antarctica with Amy. When they arrive, Ella meets Amy's unicorn friends, and they play with the other unicorns all day. The unicorns and Amy have a snowball fight, eat ice cream and cupcakes, and then sled down the icy hills together. With all her unicorn friends and a great friend like Amy. At the end of the day, Ella heads home with Amy, and they are already planning their next adventure. The end.
What a cool story by Morgan Worthington, Amy the Arctic Fairy. The first place winner now at the 4th grade level was Caleb Waterfall, who also attends the Richland Center Intermediate School and has the same teacher, Jill Plonka. Caleb's story is about Bob the Carrot, and this is actually a sequel to his story from last year. Here's Caleb Waterfall.
Bob the Carrot, Lily's Big Move by Caleb Waterfall. Tomorrow's the day that Lily the Cucumber is going to move. Bob the Carrot helped prepare the farewell party. Lily was one of his best friends. He met her on the street one day when he was coming home from work. Saying goodbye to her would be hard. His wife, Clara, and his friends from Garnish and Serve were helping him organize the party. Clara made delicious food, and his friends made farewell cards for Lily. Finally, Lily arrived. Everyone rushed to her and gave her a hug. Some of Bob's friends started to cry. They would miss Lily. Eventually, refreshments were served. They had delicious rice and beans. They were steaks, too. The farewell cards were given to Lily. Bob and Clara helped Lily pack up her things. The moving van arrived the next day. Bob was so sad that Lily had to move, but she would be happy in Massachusetts. Before she left, Lily gave her dog Bo to Bob. Bob and Clara said one last goodbye, then Lily drove away. Bob wanted to cry. He knew Lily would be happy. Bo was nipping at his feet. Bob decided to play with Bo because they were both sad. He found a stick and tossed it with all his might. Bo ran after it. He dropped the stick at Bob's feet. Bob threw it again and again until his arm was sore. It made him forget about Lily and how she had moved. It was time for dinner. Clara made tacos. Bob loved tacos. He ate 5 tacos. He burped as soon as he was done chewing. "Bob, dear, where are your manners?" she asked. "Excuse me," replied Bob. Then they went to bed. The next day, Bob woke up with a cold. "I think you should go to the doctor," said Clara when he came down the stairs. Bob drove his Honda Accord to the doctor. The doctor said that he would be okay. He said, "Just get some rest and take a day off of work." Bob did just that. It felt nice to be able to rest. He ate some soup and blew his nose. By the time he went to bed, he felt better. The next day, Bob felt fine. He wasn't sick anymore. He woke up early, so he decided to go on a run. First, he ran to the police station. Then he ran to the fire station. He finished his run by going around the hospital, then he ran back to his house. He checked his watch. He had run 2 miles. He was ready for the day. He was very cheerful the rest of the day. Maybe I should always go on a run in the morning, he thought. On Thursday, he ran around the park. On Friday, he ran to the school and back. On Saturday, he decided not to run. That was a big mistake. He was cranky the rest of the whole day. The next day was New Year's Day. Bob decided to run every day. That was his New Year's resolution. The end.
That was Caleb Waterfall, again a sequel to a story from last year involving Bob the Carrot. The 5th grade winners both attended the Richland Center Intermediate School as well. In second place is Ben Bosworth, and his teacher is Shelley Schroeder. Here's The Brave Boy by Ben Bosworth.
The Brave Boy by Ben Bosworth. In Wisconsin, there was a worm named Wiggle. Wiggle lived in an aquarium. The aquarium was owned by Mrs. Madden's 5th grade class. Wiggle was born there and loved his life. I mean, maybe one of those kids that squeezed him too hard made him not be able to breathe, but you know Mrs. Madden would tell him or her off. One day in June, and it happened to be the last day of school, Wiggle was super excited because Mrs. Madden's class always took him and the other worms outside for the last day of school. But this year was different. Mrs. Madden did not take them outside. She just left them inside. Wiggle started to get scared because Mrs. Madden never left them alone for more than 4 hours a day. When the day was over, Mrs. Madden grabbed a big hose and sucked him and the other worms up. So Wiggle just passed out. When Wiggle passed out, he was thinking about this hose thing and what it was. Wiggle thought maybe it was a black hole, but Wiggle realized that if Mrs. Madden was holding a black hole, she would be sucked in. The next day, Wiggle woke up and he was in a dark place. Wiggle looked around and he saw that there was a bunch of random stuff. Wiggle went over by this big pile of dirt. It had all the other worms in it. Wiggle pulled out this worm named Goofball. Goofball said that the hose was called a vacuum cleaner and Mrs. Madden did not want them anymore. Wiggle was full of sorrow because he loved Mrs. Madden. Mrs. Madden always fed him, gave him water, showed him to the little kids, and loved him. Wiggle started to cry. It was just hard to think that she was going to let them die in this little vacuum hose. Wiggle was so mad that he started to hit a pile of dirt and another worm fell out. The worm had the same markings as him and he thought maybe it was his mom. Wiggle thought that probably when his mom had him, Mrs. Madden threw her away. Wiggle started to think of how the vacuum was made because he wanted to get out of here. Wiggle thought maybe there was a tube to get out of the vacuum object. Wiggle looked around and he got really excited because he saw a tube. He started to make a staircase. Wiggle finished the staircase and started to go up the stairs, but all of a sudden it started to fall apart. Wiggle started to crawl as fast as he could. When Wiggle got up there, it was about to collapse, so Wiggle had to jump and swing his tail around and try to grab the tube, and it worked. Wiggle was so proud of himself that not only did he make a staircase to get on the tube, but he also found his mom. So now that Wiggle was on the tube, he had to find a way out of the tube. Wiggle started to bite the tube. Wiggle bit that tube probably 100 times before he made a hole big enough to squeeze through. Wiggle jumped in the tube immediately and started to crawl. Wiggle crawled probably for 2 hours. Finally, Wiggle thought he saw a little light. When Wiggle got there, he looked around and saw there was grass. Wiggle was very excited because he was not in the classroom. Wiggle jumped out of the tube and was safe, happy, and loved. The end.
Once again, that was Ben Bosworth, the second place winner at the 5th grade level with The Brave Boy. The first place winner also attends the Richland Center Intermediate School and has Shelley Schroeder as a teacher. Alex's story is titled The Man Who Sailed the Ocean.
Once there was a man named Dan who wanted to sail the ocean. He wanted to find treasure on the other side of the world, but there was a problem. He did not have a boat, so he did not know how to get there. Dan turns 40 years old in August of 1509. He wanted to find treasure by the age of 40. Dan needs to get a boat fast if he wants to sail on 5/29/1509 off the Carolina coast. He found a small ship stocked with supplies and food. Finally, he set sail at 6:30 a.m., 6/3/1509 with his dog Max, his little sidekick. "We are halfway there, Max," said Dan, but then there was a shark in the water. Dan was frightened. He did not know what to do, so he sailed around the shark safely. When they reached the island, Dan searched everywhere for the treasure. He wondered where it could be. Then he saw another island in the distance. When they got there, he found the treasure. From gold to shiny diamonds, he's rich. "What are we going to do now, Max?" questioned Dan. "Maybe we can build a house," thought Dan. After spending some time on the island, Dan began to miss home. He packed up the ship and began to sail back to Carolina. The way back was not so easy. There was a huge storm heading their way. The waves were huge, twice the size of the boat. He tried to go to the land, but there were too many rocks in the way, so he had to wait out the storm. 2 hours later, the storm was over. Dan and Max were not hurt. After a year away, Dan and Max returned. Dan did not know what to do with the boat. "Maybe I can keep it at the dock," thought Dan. He ended up keeping the boat. On a nice summer day, Dan filled the boat up with food and supplies. "Well, where to next, Max?" Dan asked Max. And that's the end.
Once again, that was Alex Schweinefus with a great story, The Man Who Sailed the Ocean. The final two winners in this year's contest, one was from 7th grade, while the other was from 8th grade. The 7th grade winner is Jaden Hager, who attends Eagle School and who has the teacher Kristen Brenninger. Here is Jaden's story, Randy, the Green-Nosed Reindeer.
Randy the Green-Nosed Reindeer. Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer is dead. Yup, that's right, folks. The North Pole's most beloved reindeer has recently died after guiding Santa's sleigh for 18 years. How heartbreaking. But now, with Christmas only a month away, everybody's wondering who will guide Santa's sleigh now. Click. Randy turned off the TV. The news has always made him a little teary-eyed, but this is by far the worst news he has ever watched. It is especially disturbing because the reindeer who died was his dad. Yup, Randy is Rudolph's son. Like his father, Randy also inherited a glowing nose. Unlike his father's nose, Randy's is green. Growing up, he was made fun of relentlessly for this. He eventually chose to stay in his stable, hiding himself from his tormentors. His father had been his only friend. With him gone, Randy was left with, well, nobody. Randy sank into his hay bed, sorrowful, blue, and alone. He felt like nothing mattered anymore. After several days, Randy hears a knock on his stable. "Leave me alone," he says, sinking further down into his hay bed. "It's Santa. I brought carrots, Santa says intriguingly. Fine, come in. Randy stands up, smelling the aroma of the fresh carrots. After hours of lying lifelessly in his bed, he begins to drool as the aroma fills his nostrils. Santa opens the stable door and sets the carrots in his food bowl. Excitingly, Randy gobbles it up, as if he's never had food before. Once the carrots are gone, with not a crumb left behind, Santa asks him to sit down, because he has something important to ask Randy. As you know, Christmas is coming up, and I need someone to guide my sleigh while I deliver presents. Because you are the only reindeer in the North Pole with a glowing nose, I thought you would be the perfect fit to carry on your father's legacy. Randy is silent at this request. He's not quite sure how to feel about it. He can't guide a sleigh. I mean, he's never even flown. Plus, his father has just died, and learning to guide a sleigh might be too much for Randy at this time. On the other hand, if he took Santa's offer, maybe the other reindeer would stop teasing him. He could even become famous. Randy liked the thought of that. So what do you think? Santa asks. I'll do it, says Randy confidently. Great. I know your father would be proud. Santa gives Randy a jolly warm smile. Randy softly smiles back. Meet me in the big red barn for training tomorrow morning, Santa tells him. I'll be there, says Randy. A lot has happened during the few weeks Randy has been training. When he first arrived at the barn, all the reindeer were utterly shocked to see him. They all thought Randy could never be courageous enough to guide Santa's sleigh. Most of the reindeer were nice to him, although Blizzard said his nose looked like broccoli. Randy hated broccoli. Overall, training was great. Randy picked up flying instantly, and by the end of training, he could swoop, glide, and gallop like a pro. Now it's Christmas Eve, and Santa's putting the bridles on every reindeer. Takeoff's in 30 minutes, shouts an elf standing nearby. Remember to stretch and take deep breaths, especially you, Randy, says Santa. Oh, okay, Santa, says Randy, practically shaking in his boots. Although Randy has been training day and night for weeks, in this moment he still doesn't feel ready. What if he's not as good as his dad? What if he messes up? What if he becomes a failure and has to hide in his stable for the rest of his life? Negative thoughts swarm in Randy's head like bees. He trembles, unable to shake the anxiety off. What's wrong, Randy? Asks Santa. I don't think I can do this. Sure you can, you just have to believe in yourself. I don't know how. Did you know that in your dad's first year, he felt the same as you feel now? Oh boy, was he nervous, but I saw the bravery in him. He was strong and I knew it. I tell you, once I got your dad to finally believe in himself, he could do anything. I know you can do the same. So, Randy, do you believe in yourself? Yeah, I do, says Randy. Then I know you can do it, says Santa. Santa gives Randy that big warm smile again. Randy sees the pride in his eyes and instantly knows that no matter what happens, he can do it, just like his dad. After Santa gave Randy some much-needed reassurance, he hops into the sleigh, and with a ho-ho-ho, away we go. Randy and the reindeer are off. Merry Christmas, folks. Last night, Santa Claus's delivery was a success, all thanks to Randy the green-nosed reindeer. He faced his fears and guided Santa's sleigh, making him an inspiration to all. We brought him here this morning to share his story. Hi, everyone, greets Randy, walking onto the stage. Take a seat, Randy, says the news elf. So, what questions do you have for me? Asks Randy as he sits. How was guiding Santa's sleigh for the first time? Well, I'm not going to lie. At first I was terrified. I even thought about quitting before takeoff. So, what kept you from doing so? Santa told me about his dad and how he struggled with fear. I knew if he could do it, so could I. That's amazing. What was it like to lose someone so close? It was very hard at first. Everything felt pointless. He was all I had. But soon I realized I still had him in my heart. Beautiful. Anything else you would like to say? Always remember, no matter what challenges you are facing, once you believe in yourself, you can do anything. That's it.
Once again, that was Jaden Hager with the story Randy the Green-Nosed Reindeer. Our final story today is read by Ben Waterfall from the 8th grade level. Ben's story is titled Another Boring Day, but I have a feeling this story is anything but boring.
My story is called Another Boring Day. The Mushroom Kingdom ruled the backyard. Its sprawling cities covered the compost bin. They were unstoppable. Bob, where's the weed killer? The Mushroom Kingdom is nothing at all. The Mushroom Kingdom does not exist. Forget everything you've heard about the Mushroom Kingdom, please. Bob, I'm serious. Where's the weed killer? The Mushroom Kingdom is not in this yard. It is most definitely not in the compost bin. Bob, where's the weed killer? Ziff, the humble mushroom, watched from his watchtower. So far, the day had been uneventful, save for a wounded centipede named Myron. Wow, Ziff sighed. Watch Duty was so boring unless something bad happened. But that would be bad because bad things tend to have bad side effects, in case you didn't know. Ziff hated it when they had to rebuild the city after a monster stepped on it, like one of those gargantuan beasts the giants called dogs. Ziff shuddered. Dogs were terrible. One of them trampled half the city and ate several hundred residents in the Great Accident of 1953. Who knew that dogs ate mushrooms? Shroomopedia, the online encyclopedia of the spore civilization, sure didn't. Well, that's fixed now. Ziff. Ziff snapped up his thoughts. Who said that? Ziff. Reveal yourself. Ziff brandished his spear, ready to take on anything. Well, not anything, he thought. A hunter mantis would be a bit much. Ziff. The voice is more clear now. It sounded like the breeze through a dead man's hair. A dead man's hair, thought Ziff. I need to work on my similes. That was only slightly grim. Embarrassing. Ziff. The voice is getting impatient now. What? Said Ziff half-mindedly, thinking about how he could improve his similes. Follow me. All right, said Ziff, who was thinking about how he could include a praying mantis in his next simile. He followed the voice to the edge of the city and into the depths of the shroud, the jungle of 1,000 spores. After a few minutes, they came across a dark, cavernous hole in the ground. The smell of some ancient beast wafted out of the opening, emitting the smell of an armpit of a grasshopper with a hint of rotting cinnamon. Stop, said the voice. He realized the great silkworm. Cool, said Ziff, still thinking about praying mantises. Ziff entered the chamber cautiously, slowly realizing that maybe he should have been paying attention. Oh, great, he said to himself. This is wonderful. I mean, look at the texture of the walls. On the walls, this is exquisite. This is some absolutely wonderful stuff we have right here. I see you admiring the walls, said a deep, rumbling voice from the depths of the cave. I hired a master worksman for them. Ziff looked ahead and saw a huge beast stretched on the ground. Hello, I am the silkworm, said the beast. I hear that you need my help. I do, said Ziff. I mean, I could use your help finding someone to texture my walls like yours. The humans, said the silkworm impatiently. They possess a weed killer. Ziff flinched. You will need to destroy it, the silkworm grinned. I have a plan. Ziff trudged back towards the city, carrying a backpack full of strands of silk. Several pounds of silk carried by mushroom weighing maybe a quarter of a pound at most. As could be expected, Ziff was struggling somewhat. After several hours of suffering, he finally made it back. He dropped the backpack under the deck of his house and walked inside. Ziff, his mother smiled. Just in time for dinner. Ziff sat down and grimaced. His poor, sore legs didn't improve with chairs, and probably wouldn't for several years after what they'd just gone through. Another boring day, son? Asked his father. Rather uneventful, Ziff said. I bet it was, said his father. His mother slid him a plate of lasagna. Eat up, she demanded. Later, Ziff woke up after a restless night. He jumped out of bed and sprinted out of the house. He grabbed the backpack and tried to run to his friend's house. However, due to the weight of the backpack, it was more like a crawl. A very frantic crawl, but still a crawl. Ziff knocked on the door at 8 o'clock. He left at 6 o'clock, but crawling wasn't very fast. The door opened ominously. Hiya, Ziff, said an extremely overexcited mushroom named Jork, who was half Ziff's height and wearing huge bifocals. What you doing? Holding a flask full of teal liquid, Ziff and Jork strapped on backpacks. This is later. Off at E-Fungus, a shopping network. Oh, I'm glad we're done making the potion, said Ziff. I think it'll work. He started the engine of his backpack and flew towards the home of the giants. Once it landed, they snuck into the garage and slowly climbed up the cabinet to the weed killer. The dog was waiting for them. He grinned and lunged at Ziff. Oh boy, said Ziff. I forgot about the dog. Stay back, said Jork. I have a stick. The dog growled. Jork fainted. Ziff brandished a spear, ready to fight. The dog lunged at him, its saliva dripping off of his teeth. Ziff dived to the side, narrowly dodging the dog. The dog flew over Ziff, crashing into a jar full of peanuts, which fell to the ground and shattered, leaving peanuts scattered all over the garage. The dog froze and then jumped down and started gobbling down all the peanuts. Ziff sighed in relief and ran over to the weed killer. He opened it and poured the potion inside. The weed killer slowly turned clear, and his terrible smell disappeared. Ziff grabbed a still unconscious Jork and flew off to the Mushroom Kingdom. The weed killer would never bother them again, never being a relative term, of course. Ziff walked into his house. His dad looked up from the Fun Guy magazine he was reading. Another boring day, son? The end.
Once again, that was Ben Waterfall with his story, Another Boring Day. As I said, that story, anything but boring. All the stories were anything but boring. They were all so incredibly well done. And again, our thanks go out for them to share their stories with everyone and for letting us be a part of the event. That was this year's winners in the Lambda Chapter Literary Contest at the local level here on The Morning Show.